is another episode of Getting Engaged.
Online, in life, and at work.
I'm Russel, Lolacher.
I'm Yukari, Peerless.
And we are continuing our series of talks around the 7 deadly sins.
Yes, and this is sin number
2. Number 2. And what's the topic to this one?
I can't say that word very well.
That's why I want you to say it.
Gluttony? Am I saying it right?
Very close. Gluttony.
Gluttony.
And I'm probably saying it wrong.
Just spelled funny.
It is.
But that's not how you pronounce it.
Gluttony.
Gluttony.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right.
What is gluttony again?
Overconsumption.
Okay.
The traditional sense is that, eating too much, drinking too much, overconsumption of, generally it's food, but that's certainly not going to help us for what we're talking about today. But we're talking about it in the sense of the 7 deadly sins of engagement. Mm-hmm. And for gluttony, we were definitely thinking it as an overconsumption. Mm-hmm. In our notes here, we've got taking over engagement as a way of gluttony. Thinking if there's an engagement or discussion that's going on, and this could be in real life, this could be online, and you try to hijack that discussion. We've talked about it on Getting Engaged before. Exactly. It's an overconsumption, thinking everything's about you.
Oh my God.
You're talking about, sailboats. I sell sailboats. Let's talk about my sailboats.
Right.
Well, actually, we were just talking about sailing through Costa Rica. Like, it really, it's about over-consuming that way. Mm-hmm. So don't do that.
Don't do that. Nobody likes you.
Nobody likes you. I would say for a tip that way is you need to understand the discussion first and figure out whether you fit in or not. Mm-hmm. If you do, that's fine. If you don't, you got to build a relationship so it doesn't feel so freaking awkward.
If you don't, just listen, right?
Listening.
Hoping with you.
No, it's very well calibrated. I know where I can go. So another example of gluttony.
Well, like too much reading and analyzing stuff, I guess. Like, this is like, especially on social media, there's like I always who has time to read all these things? But there are people out there like reading stuff all day long and learning about stuff and all the measurements and analytics stuff, and not really doing anything but learning and consuming information but not really sending it anywhere, right?
And we're not saying we're anti-learning. Like, this is you do your research to better understand. I mean, I've learned social media by doing social media. Mm-hmm. But you need to be able to put those things into practice. It can't be all about consuming information. You have to show something.
Right.
And I think that's a big part of social media, or even just in regular engagement, is that, okay, you've learned something, now put it into practice.
Right.
Or what's your own opinion on this? You can't be just regurgitating what other people are saying. You have to have your own stand on things.
Yes. Use your own...
Noodle.
That's right. So that's number 2.
Number 2 of our number 2.
And what is this? Oh, overextending yourself.
Yes.
Online and offline. People say you have to be on Twitter, Facebook,
Google Plus, Foursquare, Yelp. Yeah, millions of them. Tumblr, yeah. We could be here all day. Blogger, WordPress.
Yeah. And that's a little bit true, but then, there's so many people out there that's just stretched too thin, right? And same for the real life, going to all the networking events and things like that, attending events, but not really getting anything out of it.
Yeah, it's like, just get value. There was I recently read a book called The Social Media Strategist, and he was talking about...
Whose book is that?
Chris Barger. Barger?
Okay.
Yeah, and he was talking about that he gets more value by going to small conferences instead of going to big conferences. Because in a big conference, you'll talk to 200 people briefly for hundreds of a second.
And you come home with a stack of business cards and you have no idea who they are.
Exactly, as opposed to a smaller conference where you can talk to maybe 20 or 30 people, but meaningful, and you could probably get more business out of that than 200 hit and runs.
Right.
So
that's true. You
need to get into more of a not being everywhere, but be where it works for you and your objectives. Mm-hmm. If you're a social business, why are you at a technology conference? Right. Really, it needs to work for you. It's not just about the people there and just being seen. You need to be strategic, I think, a little bit about it. So
very good advice.
Anyway, that's
Mr.
our
Russel?
thank you, Miss Yukari. So I guess that's our latest edition of Getting Engaged. Sorry, that was my fault. I jumped all over her. I was just going to review that it's the 7th deadly sins of engagement. That was number 2, which would be, I want you to say it again.
What?
The word
Gluttony?
that starts with a G. Yes! Oh, that was good!
Fast learner.
I'm Russell Lolacher.
I'm Yukari Peerless.
Another episode of Getting Engaged.
Online, in life, and at work.